let's look at how you can display a table on a form screen. So first we need to prepare this table. You can create it by yourself, or you can take this table from the business object. So I'm gonna use, for example, account business object in order to get the data from the chart of accounts table. And now in order to show the chart of accounts in the form of a table on the form screen here and the wizard object, we have special object table. And the first parameter here is the name of the table, which we want to display table 1 in this case. So if we run, we can see the chart of accounts table with all its values. And in this wizard object, we've got another parameter which tells the user what this table is about. So I'm gonna tell chart of accounts here. And now if we run, we can see this text on top of this table, and notice that if we display this table at the top of the form screen as we did in this case, we can increase the table only in width. There are scroll bars, of course, that allow the user to view this table. But if you display this table at the bottom after amount, account, and item wizard objects in this case, let's move this command down here and run. Now the user can enlarge this table in all directions. And you can even display this table on the separate page. We have 3-page form here, so I'm gonna specify page 4. And as you can see now, the last page is completely occupied by this table. So the user can enlarge its size easily and analyze its contents. And also on this wizard form screen, we can show as many tables as we need. For example, I'm gonna take another business object, let's say banks, and get a list of banks from the database. Then I'm gonna pass this table to the wizard object table as well. So I'm gonna tell that this is a table 2 and this is a list of banks. And if we run, we can see this table on the first page and the chart of accounts table on the last one, as we indicated in this macro. We can also place both of those tables on the same, let's say, on the first page of the form screen. So let's move this macro command up. We can also leave only amount wizard object on the first page and move account and item wizard objects on the second page. And now if we run, we can see these tables and only amount wizard object on the first page. And now in order to look at the chart of accounts table, I'm gonna leave only table 1 on the first page and move table 2 and amount wizard object on the second page. Let's run. So as you can see here, this table has various fields, but the user may not need all of those fields. So here in the style menu, we can make visible only those fields which the user needs, like this for example. And if we run again, we can see that the style we've just set is loaded here. And if your users work in the same database where you create this macro, they will get the same style. But if not, and you want to transfer this macro to another base, you will have to export this style to a file and then load it to the database where you will import this macro. And in order to know where in the database this style is stored, we should go to the list of macros. Select our macro. This is business object lesson in this case. Then here in the menu file, system temporary options, we should expand grid style. And here it is, our style, the style of the table 1, which is on the first page. Now let's go back to the macro and look at other possibilities. So some tables in the system have tree-like structure, and chart of accounts is one of them. But in order to show the table in this way, there should be parent ID field in the table, and the data grid should know which field is unique identifier auto increment field. So if we try to show the name field as a tree-like structure, the system will tell us that the auto increment field couldn't be found, so this data grid can't be shown as a tree-like structure. And in order to teach the data grid to recognize the unique identifier auto increment field, here in the wizard object we have a table column properties macro. Let's double click, and the first parameter here is a table name, table 1 in this case, which is on the first page. And in this parameter we should specify the column name where we need to set the property. This column is OA account ID, and in this parameter we should tell true because this is auto increment field. Let's run, and let's tell here to show name field as a tree structure, but this message informs us that we can see the result only after reopening this screen. So let's save this style and let's reopen this screen. And as we can see, the name field in this table is shown as a tree-like structure, and this style is saved in this data grid. And in order to cancel this style, we should remove it from the grid style list. So let's make sure that it's done. And of course, we can see that the previous style is restored here in this table. And here at the top of the form screen, we can see that these buttons are inactive. So in order to activate them in the wizard object, we have one more macro command. This is table properties. So here in the table 1, which is on the first page, in order to activate add record, add child, update, and delete buttons, we should tell true here in these parameters. The other buttons such as quick search, print, sorting, and so on are active. But if you tell false instead of true in these parameters, they become inactive, of course. Now, if we run, we can see that these buttons are activated. So we can add, update, or delete some records. Note that as in any open data grid, if update button is active, the user can enter the value directly or by using F2 key, and also the user can move from one field to another by using Tab key, change records in those fields, and so on. And one more thing to keep in mind is that if we update information in the wizard grid, it will not cause changes in the database automatically. And how it can be done, we'll talk about it later. And we have these two buttons, check records and uncheck records here as well. We can use these buttons if we want to select records in order to analyze them in the wizard object. And in order to activate these buttons, let's add one more column to this table. For that, after this get data table macro command, we need to use memory object tables tool, add table column, and let's add to the table 1 column checked, and let's change string type with Boolean type, and then we should go to the wizard table properties macro command and put this column name checked here and this checkbox field name parameter, Now let's run. And as we can see, this field is added at the end of this table. We can go to the Style menu and move this column up to the top. And now we can use this field in order to select records in this table. We can also check several records at once. We can uncheck them as well. Or we can even use Ctrl-A key to select all of those records and check or uncheck them simultaneously. But if you want to check only one record, here in the Wizard Object Table Properties macro, we have check one record parameter where we should tell true. And now we can check only one record in this table.